Hey everyone, this is my fish room. As of today, I have over 100 fish, and I'm proud to announce that everyone is healthy. For now at least. Not too long ago, I was treating over a dozen fish for different fish illnesses or parasites. Just like every other creature, fish experience stress. Stress can make them more vulnerable to becoming sick or more susceptible to parasitic infections. And the fact of the matter is that fish are always at risk as long as they are kept in aquariums. I used to believe that fish could only become infected with parasites if you introduced a fish that was actively contaminated, but that's not always the case. You could go years without introducing a new fish to your tank, and one day have a parasite pop up out of the blue because your fish are stressed. With a lot of these parasites, if our fish have been infected once, even though we kill the parasites that host the fish, more than often there are remaining strands of the parasite that are in a dormant stage, and as soon as your fish starts to stress and their immune system weakens, that parasite attacks. Similar to that, when a fish's immune system drops due to stress, they are more vulnerable to disease. The common denominator to fish being infected with disease or parasites is stress. When a fish is experiencing stress, you can almost guarantee that an illness will follow. This gives us opportunity to be proactive when it comes to fighting these sicknesses. We know that some experiences are always going to be more stressful for fish than others. If a fish is going through one of these high-risk experiences, perhaps we should do some preventative treatments before the fish even begins to show symptoms of a disease or parasite. Some things stress fish out more than others, and from my experience, these are the top 5 causes of fish disease and parasites. One of the most stressful experiences that a fish can go through is shipping. Everything about it is stressful. Imagine being chased around a tank with a net. When you're finally caught, you're put into a bag with a limited supply of oxygen, then get put into a box where you're tossed around anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, sometimes longer. Then you're hit with a blinding light, only to discover that you're being unboxed on camera halfway across the world. Fish have every right to catch the white spot disease after this experience. With this knowledge, I buy most of my fish from local fish stores. Of course, the fish still experience the horrors of shipping because they have to arrive at the fish store, but good fish stores will quarantine and treat the fish before selling them to you. The fish still have to be transported to your home, but that is far less stressful than shipping and will significantly decrease the chances of you bringing back an infection. Buying from the local fish store isn't always the best option, so when I do order fish online to have them shipped, when the fish arrive, they go straight into quarantine. I'll give them a mild preventative treatment like salt, but if I see any symptoms, I'm using meds. For me, the second leading cause for illness or parasites with my fish is bullying. Most of the fish that I keep are aggressive in nature, and they believe in bully or be bullied. If you watch any of my cichlid tanks, you'll see how there's always some level of aggression being displayed. These fish have a pecking order, and they are always reassuring their positions. Naturally, some fish will always be lower ranking. I don't feel too bad for them because this position changes frequently, and everyone gets a turn at the bottom. Usually the aggression is balanced, but you do have to watch because sometimes the higher ranking fish can go overboard and develop bullying behavior. In a tank full of aggressive fish, I classify bullying as constant chasing. This behavior is very stressful on the targeted fish, and it never ends well. The best thing to do is to resolve the issue before doing any preventative treatment. I usually try to do a tank rescape to distract the fish and to create new territories, but if it's bad enough, I'll consider removing either the bully or the fish being targeted before disease is born. Another major cause for parasites or diseases popping up out of nowhere is sudden changes in water chemistry. If your tank's temperature drops suddenly, or if the oxygen level drops, or if your pH swings, or if your nitrates increase, this can cause your fish's immune system to lower enough for them to get sick. This might seem like a rare phenomenon, but all it takes is a power outage. If you lose power, if you're in a cold environment, the temperature will drop, the filter will stop oxygenating the water, so your water will fill with CO2, making it harder for the fish to breathe. The increased CO2 levels will lower the tank's pH. For an extended amount of time, that's enough to kill a fish. If it doesn't kill your fish will definitely end up with some form of ailment from the stress. There are things you could do to make a power outage less stressful for your fish, like using a generator or battery-powered air pumps, but I will always follow up with preventative treatments like salts or medications. Power outages are an obvious way to get tank parameters to swing, but it can happen as a result of some common mistakes, like if you're doing a water change and you accidentally fill your tank with cold water, or if you forget to plug your filter back in after doing maintenance and CO2 builds up in the tank. This has happened to me, and these can also stress a fish enough to cause disease, so in these cases I would also do some preventative treatments. Another common stress factor that leads to disease or parasites in fish are injuries. I'm talking about bumps, scrapes, scratches, open wounds, and sometimes even torn fins. Fish could get injured by other fish could get injured by tank decor, fish could even be injured by themselves. If I see a wounded fish and it looks to be minor, I will automatically do a water change and treat the tank with API stress coat, which has aloe vera that helps heal fish wounds. If it's a major injury, I'll definitely quarantine the fish and treat the wound, and I'll be on the lookout for other illnesses using this as an opportunity to affect the fish. The last common cause for aquarium diseases is just bad water quality. This is more so an issue for newer hobbyists that haven't developed a fluent maintenance routine. If your tank is littered with uneaten fish food, you haven't done a water change in a while, and you might have a dead fish somewhere in the tank, you're making it easy for parasites or diseases to invade your fish. In order for your fish to have the best chance at fighting off an infection, they need a healthy home with low nitrates and overall good aquarium hygiene. Now, if you're watching this video, odds are your tank is not in this condition, but unfortunately some fish stores have tanks just like this, so just be aware that getting fish from bad quality tanks sometimes has a price that goes beyond money. Now, as I said in the beginning, as of today, all my fish are healthy, but I'm sure I will have to battle some disease or parasite in the future. It helps to know when my fish are going to get sick before they actually get sick. These are the most common causes of aquarium fish stress, and stress is the doorway to disease. The ultimate goal is to lower fish stress. It would also be cool if I could eliminate parasites from my aquariums by killing them even while they're in their dormant stage in the tank. I think the way to do this is by adding a UV sterilizer to the tank. There are pros and cons to having a UV sterilizer. I think adding one to my tank will significantly lower the chances of parasites being able to exist in the tank, but my worry is that the UV sterilizer will also kill some of my beneficial bacteria. The only way for me to know is to install a UV sterilizer on one of my tanks and see if I could go a year or longer without any parasitic infections. I won't have those results anytime soon, so if you use a UV sterilizer, let us know in the comment section if it does indeed prevent illness and parasitic infections. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll catch you on the next one.